share their example of feedback that they just crafted?
Pertaining to a situation where an employee always comes like, probably like 8 minutes after 3 opposed to 3 o'clock.
Okay,
So maybe proposing, the shift to be like a 3:15, I'm making up the time, but, rather than 3 o'clock, allowing this employee, additional 5 minutes or what have you to, so that they're on time opposed to constantly being.
can I make a recommendation?
Sure.
I might start with this employee asking them why they're always late. What's going on? What's preventing you from getting here on time? And then go from there. You know, is it because they're not starting to get ready for work in time? They don't leave their house in time? Is it because they're dropping their kids off at daycare and it's just always going to take that much time? In that case, adjusting their schedule to 3:15 might be a good solution. And if they're able to, at the end, you know, we're asking a question to get them to commit to a change. If you ask the question, if we change your schedule to 3:15 to accommodate your daycare drop-off, can you commit to being there on time? Because then they're gonna say, hopefully, yes, I can commit to being there at 3:15. And now you can have a documented conversation, you know, write yourself an email later or write in your Excel document for that person. We changed the schedule to 3:15 to accommodate so-and-so's drop-off for daycare. She committed to being here at 3:15. Now you can hold her accountable to that. And next time, if she does show up late again, say, hey, we talked back on May 15th and you told me that you would be able to commit to being here at 3:15. The last 2 or 3 days you've been here at 3:20 or 3:25. What's going on? Why can't you be here on time? See what's going on again. Who else wants to share?
Okay. So I will meet the names. One of these good days, garbage wasn't taken out in our house. Garbage is taken out on Tuesdays.
Okay, so garbage day was missed. Okay.
So, and the following morning, I asked the staff, did you take the garbage out yesterday? My data point was garbage wasn't taken out yesterday, and neither of the two staff wants to take responsibility. Each of you is saying the other one, you know, like they have duty, like if I take it this week, next week you take it up. So everybody's blame game, basically.
Okay.
So my show impact was that I realized like they are trying to pass the buck. Nobody wants to take responsibility. Each one is blaming the other. So my end question was, what can I do to help you share PM duties equally so that nobody feels unfairly doing more than the other stuff?
Great. I like your end question a lot. You know, what can we do to make sure this gets done? The responsibility is shared equally. Hopefully you're gonna get a response that says, okay, I'll take it out every other week, starting this week, and so will take it out every other week, starting next week. So you can then go back and document that conversation and make sure you talk with both of the staff and get their commitment to that schedule. Go back to your computer, type up your quick notes about so-and-so committed to taking it out every other week starting this week, so-and-so committed to taking it out every other week starting this other week. So then next time it's not taken out, we can go back to that conversation, back to that commitment from the employee and say, this week it was your responsibility to take the garbage out and it didn't happen. What happened? Why? What can we do to make sure this doesn't happen again? And then if it keeps happening, we keep having the same incident happening with somebody, then we need to start contacting Jan and HR and maybe going down a disciplinary process with that employee. We want to avoid the disciplinary process when we can, but if we have things that repeat issues or really big issues that aren't just going to be a conversation because it was a really, really bad thing that they did, Then we go down that performance management discipline track. But for the most part, you should be able to manage your folks with good feedback and getting commitment from the employee to make that change, document those conversations, follow up with them. If they go for 2 months and the garbage has been taken out every single week and it's like clockwork and you have no problems with that, you know what you can do? You can go back to those staff and say, hey, I've noticed that the garbage has always been taken out. Thank you very much for doing your part to keep our household running smoothly. And if, again, you run into the situation again, you need to follow up with them and hold them accountable for not getting it out. We see what we're doing here.
So like keeping track, you know, like that we're having these conversations with the whomever we're having these conversations with, you know, and that the problems are continuing. Is that like enough? I don't know how to say that without sounding mean.
Yeah.
Do you get
like
what I'm
do-
saying?
Yeah, like do they don't have to sign it, like we
Yeah.
can just like write it in here and that's good enough.
Yeah,
Do you
so
agree?
if you're just having a conversation, and this
Yes.
isn't a retraining on something, I'm not running through the process on something with you again. We have a retraining procedure where we document
Right.
on a goldenrod or an Osmore or however we're doing that. But yeah, these simple conversations,
Yeah.
you can document yourself as their supervisor.
Okay.
Keep it in a specific spot, a discrete spot, so other employees aren't gonna come by it.
Right.
But date it, time it. What was the conversation? What did you guys commit to going forward? And I would maybe put a reminder on your calendar to follow up with that person in a week or two to see how they're doing.
Yeah. 'Cause I know like one employee specifically, like, you know, because once you get down to like 6 points, you're doing like, verbal and retrain. Well, I'm like, even from like at 7, it's like, okay, you know, I don't like to wait till that last time. So at 7, you know, just having that conversation with her so that you can document at like 7, you know, type in a note, like had a conversation with Velma, you know, or, you know, that was done.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when you date and time and note a conversation, if you have to talk to that person again about that same issue, you can say, hey, we talked 2 weeks ago on Wednesday, and here's what we decided together. I'm seeing that it's not happening. What's going on? What's going on? And just leave it out there. Don't put any blame on yourself, just leave it out there. What's going on? And let them talk. And then they're gonna tell you. Let it be silent for a minute if you have to. Wait for their answer.
Like Haley was saying, but when you do the one-sided document, it could easily turn into she never had that conversation with me.
That's what I was like,
That's what I was trying.
And so usually what happens, like I'll share with maybe like another PRC or because as a receipt, you know what I mean?
That's all right.
But in the end, with that particular staff, you don't really have a two-way.
Yeah, like the
conversation.
legalities of it is, I guess, what
It could get ugly in the end just because it'll be your word against their word. Yeah, so you need to probably have something a little bit more, something documentation-wise, even if it's just a receipt of your conversation.
So here's how I see the process. We are all people.
Mhm.
And we don't want to run to the disciplinary track immediately for every small thing.
Right.
We want to help correct them along the way and guide them and coach them. When we've done that, when we've had a conversation, maybe 2, and that issue continues to happen, now we go to the documented verbal warning, the documented written warning if it keeps happening, and after that, we look at termination. So the documentation that goes in the employee's file is only going to really start if they have repeat issues that they're not fixing after discussions, maybe just 1 or 2 discussions. I mean, don't talk to somebody about the same issue over and over and over and over again. After 2 or 3 discussions, or even after 2 discussions, I would call up Jan and talk about the situation and see if maybe now's the time to do a verbal warning, which is documented in their file that they sign, and you sit down with another supervisor and do that meeting, formal meeting. So
I mean, I've just followed up with a text saying, thanks for understanding it earlier or yesterday, our conversation about blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
I hope we can, I just like to have a
Absolutely.
receipt, so,
if
yeah.
it is a good idea, I've seen people follow up with an email. A text is the same as an email, really,
I just
but
like stuff in
saying,
writing.
hey,
Yeah.
thanks so much for sitting down with me today. Here's what we decided to do going forward. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Send it away. You don't need to get a response back, but that's part of your documentation. If you just want to send email or text follow-ups, you can use that as your supervisor notes. Or you can keep it in Excel or Word or send yourself an email or whatever. Develop your own method for keeping your conversations documented. Whatever's going to be easy for you. But yes, it's a great idea to follow up with the employee with a text or an email, just summarizing your conversations. Because you don't need a lot to come to HR and say, hey, I think we need to start with a verbal, or get to a verbal warning with this person. Even if you've just had one conversation and it was about a more serious issue that they've continued to do again, you can do a verbal warning after one coaching. You can do a verbal warning after no coaching if it's a really serious issue that we've got to document in their file. So if you ever have a question about whether you should be doing something that goes in their file, having that formal meeting, just call up Jan. She'll talk you through it. She'll say, you know what? Have you had a coaching conversation with this person yet? Just an informal conversation. Have you addressed it with them at all? If it's a small issue, she's going to direct you to start with that. And call up again and say, if it happens again, we'll do a verbal. And then we'll walk you through that. Does that make sense? Anytime you have a question on how to handle an employee, if you're not sure, just call us up. Call me up, call Jan up. We will help you through it. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you supervise your employees and get the most out of them and help them improve their work. That's the whole point of performance management, is to improve their work so we're giving the best service to the individuals in our homes. So things run smoothly, so they know what their expectations are and we're helping them meet them.